This 3-meter fence was meant to guard Mexico's presidential palace from protesters on Women's Day. Instead, it's become a towering symbol of the violence women here face. These are the names of those who have been murdered because of their gender. Last year, 939 were killed. Between 2015 and 2020, the number of women who have died for this reason increased by nearly 130%.
Today we come to give a voice to these women who are no longer here. Today we come to write their names, to remember them so that they are never forgotten and that justice is done for them.
In Pakistan, activists rallied demanding shelters to protect women from abuse. Around the world, aid agencies say the pandemic and lockdowns have led to more cases of domestic violence.
Women, of course, during lockdowns have been confined at home. So in the case of women who are living with an abuser, they are trapped with that person. And then secondly, of course, it's been much harder for women to access services. So some services have had to close down during lockdown periods or have simply not been physically accessible for women. And we've also seen a very, very concerning trend of increased violence online.
In France, activists rallied against existing inequalities made worse by the pandemic. In the Philippines, protesters blamed their government for a rise in unemployment and poverty. The pandemic and government restrictions have made women more economically vulnerable and added to their invisible burden of unpaid domestic and care work.
Our estimates show that across all regions, women have become more likely than men to become economically inactive. Our estimates also show that women's wages have been hit harder. So women's total wage bill in the countries where we have data have fallen by 8.1% according to our estimates, compared with 5.4% for men.
Women have been on the front lines in the fight against COVID-19. 70% of health workers and first responders are women, yet the gender pay gap sits at 28%. The UN says an equal future is within reach if everyone chips in. But for now, it's largely women who are bearing the unequal cost of the pandemic. Priyanka, Gupta, Al Jazeera.